everybody. Welcome to the program today. I'm Mitch Carson, and I'm here with a very special guest today, and who Middletown has heard a lot about with boys basketball, who has a new championship title for the first time in a long time, the head coach, Mr. Chris Bradford. And Mr. Bradford, it's great to have you here today.
It's awesome to be here, Mitch.
It's my pleasure. So, how does it feel to coach at your alma mater? Like you played at Middletown when you were in high school, and now you're the coach. So how does that feel?
It was awesome. When I first started coaching and when I first started to get in school for becoming a teacher, I was coaching with Chris Sittel, learning how what that process was like, learning how to interact with young guys, really starting to develop a love for that stuff. And it was just funny, the coaching thing got me to the teaching thing, which got me back to the coaching thing eventually. But yeah, to be able to do it at Middletown special. I've lived here my whole life, minus 2 years down at LVC in Anvil. Ironically enough, where I got to go down and coach for 5 years down, as a Dutchman for a few years, and to be able to come back and do it is really cool. The connections in the community, the people that you see day to day. I mean, even you, like someone that I taught in class, a few years back now. It's special and it's been fun. Absolutely.
So throughout all this, when you started coaching, was Mr. Chris Sittel one of your role models that you looked to and in a way taught you how to be?
Absolutely, and I can go back even further. When I was a junior in high school, he was the JV coach for Charlie Bowen. So again, that's just those Middletown connections. He helped get me into the middle school when I started teaching. Eventually got bumped up to the high school teaching English. But yeah, absolutely. And he's a guy, I spent a few minutes on the phone with him today, just, talking about things, not just basketball, about life and stuff like that. But absolutely, he's a guy I learned a lot from, and a guy that continues to be an excellent role model, to now, heading up to middle school. Like those guys are lucky to have someone like that there. And I was fortunate enough to have somebody like that to learn from. Fortunate enough to have guys on my staff now. The coach who's Coach Blachik, that have been around basketball for years, that are able to help me out. That I couldn't be more thankful for those guys. And then we got a couple other guys on staff that are dug into this community. So it's really like a special Middletown thing, and it's been fun to do it with Middletown guys. Absolutely.
So it looks like the one big thing in this, with all the coaches, is the connections that you make through the years.
Absolutely. That's one of those things. As a coach, you tell the guys. And at the time you don't realize it, but even my friends that I'm still close with today, there's always a connection back to basketball almost. And it's funny how basketball, those connections, friendships and stuff like that, last just as long as any other connections. And it's really something that I told our guys, as we kind of got through the end of this season, that eventually they're going to be able to look back and call upon those guys that they're forever going to be connected to, and it's cool to see it on the other side of it, having experienced it now, being able to see that kind of. You need to go. Sorry. Sorry, Mitch, go ahead.
So when the team played, what was the pregame routine? Was there a chant, or you guys get together and?
So yeah, our guys stayed pretty loose, pretty focused in the locker room. They turn the music up, they get themselves mentally prepared. But this year was a little different, and one of the things we if you want to call it a motto or bring it in and break it down for 3/4 of the season, it was every day. That was just what we brought it in and said. And it started off as being thankful for every day, because we don't know how many days we were going to get, and we had that 3-week shutdown in December where there was a possibility that we were never going to come back to it. I mean, that's and in this year we've learned a lot of things about how frail some things can be. So we were going to be thankful for every day that we got to spend together, every day we got to get in the gym. And then once the season got rolling and games got rolling in January, it was, we're going to be thankful to be able to go and compete, to show people, what we're about. And then it was, every day was how we were going to prepare. We're going to prepare like this is the most important day. So it kind of took on a meaning of its own, and then in the last, once we were getting close to districts, getting into playoffs, we started talking about us, and it became about us, and we started, bringing in and breaking out with us because the locker room kind of, brought all the troops together. You got really tight knit. Through some bumps in the road and through some things that you can't control everything. And I thought it brought our guys closer together. And it was on the back of our warm-ups this year every day. And even now when it's over, like I'm thankful to have got to spend all those days every day with those guys. I sent it out to a few of them. Like I learned more from them this year and how they reacted to what this year's been and the trials and the adversity and stuff. I've learned more from them and how tough and resilient like young men are than they probably learned from me in terms of basketball. Yeah.
So how were you able to keep the team's focus on every game and their eye on the prize, like at every practice, every game, like whether you came out winning or not?
Well, it's not easy. And they're young, as young men, lots of different things are going through their minds every day, whether it's school, girls, 2020 and 2021, what it's brought to, their tables. But at the end of the day, one of those things, and I'm not the only coach that said this one, but, when we get in the gym, we step on the court, like those are the 2 hours, 3 hours that we didn't have to worry about some of that other stuff. So it was almost like a getaway, and you'd be able to tune out some of the other noise and things like that. And they seize that opportunity, and you win a couple games and you start feeling good about yourself. You're able to tune some of that other stuff out, and then when we got rolling, we got into districts and all those things we went through, paid off because, every loss, every, pothole along the road, every, mistake made had to be a lesson learned. And they did well kind of taking all those experiences, all those lessons and putting it, into their game when it mattered, when it was win or go home, when there was no necessarily tomorrow if you lost the game. And I couldn't have been more proud of like how we composed ourselves through all that stuff.
So it's all about like make what have you done like throughout the process to make you feel proud?
Yeah, absolutely. And the process is more important from the product, more important than the product, and especially for young guys. What we do every day in practice. Not everyone plays in a basketball game. So what are those guys that are going in and working in practice, getting out of it? Because it's not just about the minutes on the floor. It's not just about the points scored or the wins and losses. Are we learning something to be able to do, something else with, something more important than basketball with, in life, in school, and, with the family and with relationships and stuff like that. You hope as a coach that stuff kind of, the things that we've said, the way we've, tried to compose ourselves, the things we've, asked our guys to do, we hope that stuff, leads them to something better, after the fact.
Yeah, and what you said earlier, like with the years 2020 and 2021, as I know, and everybody knows, these past 2 years had events that nobody saw coming. Mm-hmm. So with a pandemic that's still like in the air and with COVID, how were you able to keep the community involved, like with the team when there was a pandemic in there?
There's some stuff that, obviously the negatives and the people that have lost people and people that have gotten sick and, the connections that have been severed in all this stuff. There are like those silver linings that come out of it, like, with technology and being able to stream the games. You hope as a coach, that's something that doesn't go away. Because it's not just, we couldn't have the people in the gym. But now, next year, there's a parent that's got to work or they're away or something, like they're still going to be able to watch their kids play ball. Like, you hope something like that sticks around. And I had coaches, doing what they could on social media to try and promote our guys, to, there's small things like the parade after the district championship game that was awesome, that they'll remember, to the kids at Reed marching down and getting to wave hello to our guys before the Danville game, to even just, we coming from the Tony's restaurant, doing like a restaurant night, for our program, and getting to see people. I know there's a lot of people that didn't get an opportunity to get in the gym that would have loved to experience it. We would have loved to have that gym full because we were blessed to be able to play, state playoff games at home. If there weren't a pandemic, we wouldn't have been playing those games at home. So, there's give and take on both sides of it. I know that the guys that are back and it's sad that the seniors, that kids that a lot has been taken from, didn't get that memory. But they got some good stuff out of it too. And then I know our young guys, when we're able to pack the stands again, are going to feel the love from the community because they deserve it.
So it's something good can come from bad.
Yeah, and you don't want to dwell on bad stuff. How we react to adversity and things that happen, that's a message in basketball, but that's a message for everything. Everyone had the same excuse this year if they wanted it. This isn't how it usually is. We didn't get as much time to do this. We don't have this. Everyone had that one. So we decided really early on, we were not going to play that excuse-making game because that's not teaching them something that's going to pay off for them later. We can always make excuses for stuff. But if we, fix what we can fix and control what we can control, that was a message that, we thought was more beneficial to our guys. And again, for those 2 hours that you're in there, we could forget about some of that stuff.
Right. So my last question to you is, what can you say about your coaching staff? with all the coaches you had. In fact, one is right behind us right now, shooting the camera.
Listen, I'm not able to do what I do without Chris Hughes and Dan Polacek and Andrew Placeris and Jamie Pugh and Coach Coffey on the books. Mr. Coffey and Jeff Vaughn down at junior high. Without those guys, kind of carrying the message that, we want Middletown basketball to be this, and with the amount of hours they get to do, they devote to not just the program, but to the kids and the young men in the program that isn't paid, some of them, that isn't, a thank, they don't get the thanks for it, right? You're not talking to them right now. You're talking to me because we had success, but I don't get there, and our guys don't get there without their time. And their families give them up for a while. And we joked who's going to be the first one whose significant other gets sick of them now that the season's over. And I don't know who's going to win that race, but I know they're already to go back into the gym and figure the next part out. Those guys are awesome, and I was fortunate enough to be coached by a lot of awesome coaches along the way that I still talk to. Charlie Bone was sitting on the baseline, during our playoff run, and that was my coach in high school. And we didn't always see eye to eye, but this guy who was always there with support, always there to say the right things. The amount of people that have reached out coaching wise, it's an awesome community of coaches. But my staff in particular, that top notch. I couldn't ask for better.
So it's about it's all about teamwork to make the dream work.
And teamwork to make the dream work, Mitch. Absolutely.
Well, Coach Bradford and Coach Hughes in the background, congratulations on a very successful season and start to build for next year. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks for watching.